Okay, Ben. What is the average velocity of an unlaid swallow? That sounds good to me.
So our question is for you, Kyle. Ben touched on it, but we've had very long SRC Tuesday weekly meetings this year. And something you touched on in your speech was that every communal problem can be solved by dialogue. So I'm wondering if you think that there's maybe a point where we've finished all the talking and we actually need to do something.
Okay. The SRC represents the student body, but they are not the student body. Every solution we want starts from the ground up, not from the top down. And so, frankly, I don't necessarily know how to deal with the SRC problems yet. I haven't been there. You, by far, have the experience on me, and vote for change.
My question is for Bria.
Yes.
You mentioned in your speech that you plan to be a leader who inspires other leaders. I'm curious what kinds of leadership positions you plan to inspire people to and how.
Okay. Any positions, if you have an idea, I want you to come to us with it. If you want to see something that's not on campus yet, I want you to bring it. A leader isn't determined by how big your ideas are. A leader is just determined by coming and wanting your ideas to happen. And those are the kind of...
Amar, my question is for you, because I know you have a lot of energy and a lot of community engagement and talking with people and different things like that, but how do you think that that will add up? Do you have what it takes to sit down and just do the work and that restraint?
I do have the discipline to sit down and do the work. I organized a TEDx event in Egypt. Right now it's ranked the most successful in the country. I run a business in two countries, in Morocco and the States. I've held a lot of leadership positions before. I know I can come across as this crazy, energetic guy who you see everywhere. But actually, when it comes down to doing the real job, I can definitely sit and do it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Celine, in the interview with the Echo, it was obviously probably pretty cut down and squished up. But you mentioned briefly that to a certain extent, planning doesn't take, you can't really plan too far ahead. What role do you think planning does have, and what do you think it could accomplish then, obviously considering that there's something to change, and what do you have?
So there's a lot of things in that question, and I'm going to try to answer them in 45 seconds. Planning, obviously, there is a great advantage to planning. If you're better planned and better prepared for things, you're better able to tackle obstacles that come your way. The point I was trying to make in the Echo, or what was printed in the Echo, was that you can't rely on your planning. And that, yes, you can plan to be prepared for those sorts of things, but when you are struck with unforeseen obstacles, then you actually have to throw that planning out the window and maybe focus on something else. Things I have planned are more about things that I'm thinking right now about the rest of my term as concentration representative. And there are things that I think would be worthy of pursuit if I were to start a term right now. Right now, looking at where the SRC office will be next year is, I think, a huge problem. But right now, in terms of my plans, I'm concentrated on finishing my term as concentration representative.
My question's for you, Kyle. I'm wondering, since you are involved in so many things in sports and leading the community update meetings and all of that, how are you going to balance that with the vice presidential position since it takes so much time?
It's a really good question. So I think that being so involved has actually prepared me really well. For next year in terms of soccer, because I'll be going into my 4th year, my full commitment is for those first 2 months. But after the 2 months is over, practices are mandatory and the SRC can shift to being my very, very first priority. But I can promise you that all the time that I have outside of soccer and school will go directly to the SRC. Additionally, if I am elected, I will not be doing the community updates anymore. And I also, in the past years, during soccer season, I've had an on-campus job as a research assistant and working upwards of 10 hours a week along with soccer and community update and everything else. I will not be having that during soccer season next year if I am elected, so I will be able to substitute my role as a research assistant for the role as SRC vice president.
Ben, you talked about having workshops to expose people more to the SRC. How else are you going to bring the SRC to the students without requiring students to come to the SRC?
So specifically the workshops I was talking about running are workshops on how to get funding. And another idea that I have about getting people more involved with the SRC as well as in other campus initiatives is keeping an updated list on the forthcoming SRC website of the various possibilities for leadership opportunities, volunteer opportunities, clubs, upcoming talks, trips, and other things like that.